Touch delay everyone. In this class we are going to learn about class 12 geography. In class 12 geography we have two books. So the name of the first book is called Fundamentals of Human Geography. In this book we have 10 chapters in total. So in this class we are going to discuss about chapter number 5, that is primary activities. Since this chapter is quite lengthy, because of that I have made two parts, part 1 and part 2. So in this class we are going to learn about first part of the chapter. So this particular diagram shows or is the key or the main theme of the chapter, that is chapter number 5, primary related activities. In this chapter we have 4 main topics: hunting and gathering, pastoralism, agriculture and mining. So these are the 4 main topics. Under these 4 main topics we have subtopics. First primary type of activity, that is hunting and gathering. Hunting and gathering, we are going to learn hunting and gathering, two part. Pastoralism, we have two part: pastoral nomadism, or it is also called nomadic herding. Another one is called pastoralism type is commercial livestock breeding. Under agriculture we have two main part: land-based agriculture or cultivation and other farming activities. Land-based agriculture or cultivation is further divided into two: subsistence agriculture and commercial agriculture. Subsistence agriculture is further divided into two: primitive subsistence agriculture and intensive subsistence agriculture. Intensive subsistence agriculture, we have again two parts: intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet paddy and intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by other than wet paddy, that means wheat. From land-based cultivation, the next topic is commercial agriculture. From commercial agriculture, we are going to discuss about 5 commercial agriculture related activities. They are plantation agriculture, extensive commercial grain cultivation, Mediterranean agriculture or farming, and horticulture, and or we can say market gardening. Next topic related with agriculture is other types of farming or agriculture. They are further divided into two: animal related farming and institutional related farming. Animal related farmings are further divided into two: mixed farming and dairy farming. Institutional related farmings are further divided into two: cooperative farming and collective farming. And the last main topic that we are going to learn is mining. So under mining we are going to learn about the factors affecting mining and types of mining. Factors, we are going to learn two factors: economic factors and physical factors related with mining. And types of mining, we have two types: surface mining and underground mining. So this particular diagram is the key or the main theme of the chapter, that is chapter number 5. Next, the most important thing that we need to know is what is meant by primary activities. So primary activities means those human activities which are related with the direct use of natural resources, or those human activities which are directly related with the use of physical environment. So these types of human activities on this planet are called primary activities. examples of primary activities such as hunting and gathering, agriculture, and mining. So these are the some of the examples of primary related activities. So in this uh, chapter, we are going to learn each primary types of activities one by one. The first primary related activities that we are going to learn here is hunting and gathering. Following are the main characteristics or the features related with hunting and gathering. Hunting and gathering are the oldest economic activities, human economic activities. That means hunting and gatherings are the oldest human activities that were adopted by human being when human being first appeared on this planet. So these two are the oldest human activity adopted by human being on this planet. Before 12,000 years ago, almost all the people living in this on this planet are engaged with these two type of activities only. But nowadays, most of people are not doing these two type of activities. But only few people are engaged with these two types of activities. So that means the second point is at present, still some people are practicing these two types of activities. So it is practice. These two types of activities are still practiced by few people, only few number of people on this planet at present. So usually nowadays they are practicing in a region where there is a very harsh climatic condition. So at present, still few people are engaged with the two type of activities. So mostly these people are uh, they are settled or in a region where there is a very harsh climatic condition. So harsh climatic means we need to know region having a very hot and cold climatic condition. That is called harsh climatic condition. So at present, still some people are engaged with these two type of activities, and they are mostly located in a region where there is a very harsh climatic condition. That means very very hot and very very cold climatic condition. So these type of people, they are always moving. That means wandering from one place to another places. Why they are always moving from one place to another places? Means in search of food. How they are searching the food means by extracting both plants and animals with help of simple tools. So simple tools we can say stones and sticks. With help of these type of tools, they are extracting plants and animals for their food. And in simple word, it is called foraging. Usually they live in a very small group, very small group. In this small group, the number of people is very very again very small. That means only 10 to 15, maximum 20 people in a group. That means they live in a very small group and in small, very very small in number, and they don't have any personal properties and belongings. So nowadays we all have our belongings and properties like houses, agricultural land, and many many other items in our houses. But they don't have such personal properties and belongings. They are always, because of that, they are always moving from one place to another place in search of food. At present, some gathering has become very very commercial, or we can say very very important in modern times. For example, collection of valuable medicinal herbs, tree barks, so and nuts, and these nuts and fruit. So gathering of these types of items or products become very very commercial and very very important in modern times. So they are gathering, still some people are gathering valuable medicinal herbs, tree barks, and fruits and nuts, and they are selling in the market. So nowadays gathering has become very very commercial and very very important in modern times. So these are the some uh, of the characteristics related with hunting and gathering. This particular picture shows uh, life of hunters and gatherers. That means before 12,000 years ago, during Stone Age, we can say people are engaged, most of people are engaged with these two type of activities, hunting and gathering. We already discussed that at present still some people are engaged with hunting and gathering. They are mostly located in a region with very harsh climatic condition. So here, harsh climatic condition, they have divided into two: high latitude zones and low latitude zones. Usually high latitude zones means those regions which are located very close to the north and very close to the south pole. So those regions are categorized. Those latitudinal, those countries, those regions which are latitude, which are located very in a very high latitude. That means more than 45° north and 45° south. We can say these regions are high latitude zones. So these regions are called or known to be as high latitude zones. Low latitude zones means those region, those area which are very near to equator. That means in between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. So these regions are called low latitude zones. Usually those regions which are located very near to the equators are where we can usually throughout the year we can experience very hot type of climate because of direct solar radiation. And near to the north and south pole, these are called high latitude zones. Usually because of sun's solar rays inclination to this region, we have low temperature or minimum type of temperature. That means these regions are called to be as low latitude zones or very cold zones. High latitude zones such as nowadays still people are practicing these two type of activities, that they are hunting and gathering. They are usually at present they are uh, practicing in a region with high latitude zone, that means cold climatic condition such as northern Canada, northern Eurasia and southern Chile. Here we have southern Chile. This region still some people are practicing hunting and gathering, mostly gathering, subsistence gathering they are practicing. Some people are engaged with these two type of activities, mostly gathering. Near to the equator, we can call these regions are called to be as low latitude zones, such as Amazon Basin, near to equator, tropical Africa, very near to equator, northern fringe of Australia, not mentioned in your, they have not marked in your located labeled in your this one textbook, but northern fringe zone means this region, we can say northern fringe zone, uh, northern fringe of Australia, interior part of Asia. So these are the region with harsh climatic condition, very hot and cold climatic condition, where still some people are doing hunting and gathering. Mostly they are engaged with gathering type of activities. Next type of primary activities that we are going to learn is pastoralism. So what is meant by pastoralism? Pastoralism means animal rearing and grazing. It is called rearing and grazing of animal is called pastoralism. So what is meant by pastoralism means rearing and grazing of animal is called pastoralism. Rearing and grazing can be divided into can be one. So there are different ways, different methods of rearing and grazing of animals. Animal rearing and grazing can be primitive, which is carried on a very subsistence nature, or subsistence based by nomad. One type of rearing of animal is a very primitive or in a very subsistence nature, that are mostly done by nomads of the world, nomads peoples in the world. And another type of pastoralism is commercial basis in modern times. So these are the two types of pastoralism that we are going to learn in this class. Pastoralism is further divided into two broad categories. They are nomadic herding, or another name is called pastoral nomadism. Another one is commercial animal grazing. So these are the two types of uh, animal rearing and grazing of animals that we are going to discuss in this class. Nomadic herding, that means the first picture. Nomadic herding, that one is the old and the tradition, that this type of uh, rearing and grazing of animal is mainly for self-consumption, or we can say subsistence in nature. But if we look at the second image, commercial, this type of rearing and grazing of animal is mainly for commercial purposes. So these are the two types of pastoralism that we are going to learn in this class. First one is nomadic herding, or we can say pastoral nomadism. What is meant by nomadic herding or pastoral nomadism? So it is a old or a traditional way of rearing and grazing of animals mainly for self-consumption. It is called nomadic herding. It is called pastoral nomadism. So following are the characteristics of nomadic herding or pastoral nomadism. Primitive subsistence activity mainly for self-consumption. So nomadic herding is primitive. Primitive here means very, very old or a traditional way of rearing and grazing of animal, mainly for, these are mainly for subsistence in nature. That means mainly for self-consumption purposes. So that is the first characteristics of nomadic herding or pastoral nomadism. Here the herders means nomad people. Herders, they are totally dependent or rely on animals for their food, clothes, shelter, and transport. That means herders here means nomad people. They are totally dependent on their animals for food, clothes, shelter, and transport. One main peculiar characteristics of this pastoralism is transhumance in nature. What is meant by transhumance in nature? Transhumance in nature means seasonal migration of herders. So herders mean, we know that people who are herding the animals. Herders, seasonal migration of herders along with their livestock. That means transhumance means seasonal migration of herders along with their animals. So that means uh, they have a pattern of movement in this particular character. So during summer season, they will move up to the mountainous regions in order to get better grass and water for their livestock and animals. And during winter seasons, they will move down to the low areas in order to get better water and grass for their animals. For example, in Himalayan region in India, Gujars, Bakarwals, Gaddis, and Bhodiyas. So these tribal people are engaged with these type of activities, nomadic herding, and they are uh, doing transhumance in nature. That means they are moving in a seasonal basis in order to get better grass and water for the animals. During summer season, they will move up to the mountainous regions in order to get better grass and water for the animals, and during winter season, they will move down to the low lying areas in order to get better grass and water for the animals. So here the animals are totally dependent on natural grass and waters, that means natural resources. Because of that, they are moving from one place to another places on a seasonal basis. Types of animal reared. So based on different geographical and climatic condition, different types of animals are reared and graze in different parts of the world. So flowing are the main regions, and animals are rare in different regions of the world. In the tropical Africa tropical Africa is famous for cattle rearing. In Sahara Aztec desert, that means Sahara, this means the desert region, sheep, goats, and camels are usually reared in this region because of geographical and climatic condition. In mountainous areas of Tibet and Andes, these are the mountainous regions, yak and llamas are mostly red, and reindeers are important in Arctic and subarctic regions. So these are the different types of animals are rare in different geographical and climatic conditions in the world. So here, yak, this type of yaks are mostly rare and graze in mountainous regions. Camels are mostly in desert regions. And cattle are mostly rare in semi-arid desert regions. And these are mostly rare in the snow-covered or cold climatic condition regions. So these are the different types of animals are rare and grazed by people in different geographical and climatic conditions of the world. So at present, still some people are engaged with these types of primary related activities. So the first region is an extensive region. That extends, very very large region extends from Sahel to Sahara, and in Africa too. Here we have Central Asia. Next to that, if we move to here, Mongolia and Central China. So these particular dark shaded region shows these region still some people are doing this one pastoral nomadism or nomadic herding in this region. Tundra region of Eurasia, next region. So if you look at the world map, this particular red line shows equator. So mostly nowadays, most of people who are engaged with hunting and this one people who are engaged with pastoral nomadism, they are mostly doing and at the northern hemisphere of the world of our earth. This is equator. North of equator is called northern hemisphere and south of equator is called southern hemisphere. So if you look at the map, we can generalize, we can say that most of people who are engaged in pastoral nomadism are located at the north of equator, but we also have only few people are doing pastoralism at the southern hemisphere. So southern hemisphere means southwestern Africa. Still some people are doing pastoral nomadism, and western Madagascar region. So this is the Madagascar island, western Madagascar island. At western Madagascar island, still some people are doing this type of primary activity that is called pastoral nomadism. So these are the region. This particular dark shaded uh, map shows areas or region where still people are doing pastoral nomadism. Next topic is commercial livestock rearing. So following are the characteristics of commercial livestock rearing. So characteristics, we can also say the features of commercial livestock rearing. What is meant by commercial livestock rearing? So commercial livestock rearing is what is meant by commercial livestock rearing means commercial livestock rearing is it is a advanced modern scientific way of rearing and grazing of animal mainly for commercial purposes, that is called commercial livestock rearing. So here rearing of animal mainly for commercial purposes in a permanent ranches. So ranches means large area where in a particular large area they are permanently settling on that particular uh, place, and they are rearing and grazing the particular type of animals. So that is called rearing of animal mainly for commercial purpose, for sale and to earn profit. That is called commercial purposes in a permanent ranges. That means they are not moving on a seasonal basis. They are settled on a permanent place. That is the first characteristics. Ranges. So here the particular big area is further divided into number of sections or parts by fences, with help of fences, in order to regulate the animals for the fodders, in order to give food for the animals, in order to uh, regulate animals for the feedings, and in order to clean the animals shed. Because of that, the ranches are divided into number of sections or number of parts with help of fences in order to regulate the animals in a efficient way. So as compared to pastoral nomadism, commercial livestock rearing is more organized, and here it is more capital intensive, means we have to spend huge amount of money in order to buy the animals, buy the lands, in order to make fences in the ranches. So because of that, it is this commercial livestock rearing is more organized and more capital intensive. That means we have to spend more money as compared to pastoral nomadism. So here there are specialized activity in rearing of cattle, sheep, goats, and horses. So here they are rearing only a special kind of animals. They are not rearing animals in a mixed way. They are always rearing animal in a specialized way. Cattle means they are rearing only cattle. Sheep means they are only rearing sheep. Goat means goat. Horses means horses. That means they are specialized activity in rearing of cattle. Some people are rearing and grazing of cattle for commercial purposes. Some people are rearing and grazing sheep for commercial purposes, and some people are rearing and grazing goats and horses for commercial purposes. That means they are specialized in rearing of grazing and rearing and grazing of animals for commercial purposes. Here they are emphasizing more on breeding. Crossbreeding means mating of the animal in order to have a better offspring. They are emphasizing more on breeding, improvement of animals, disease control, and healthcare of animals. So they are emphasizing all these areas in order to get better profit, more profit by doing this type of agriculture, or we can say farming. So these are some of the characteristics of commercial livestock rearing. So this particular picture shows uh, in our ranches they have made fences. So that means this type of commercial animal grazing is more organized, and it is this type of animal grazing is more expensive and more organized as compared to nomadic herding. So that means here this particular uh, commercial animal grazing is they are specialized only in cattle. So here they are only specialized in means which animal means they are specialized only in cattle only. So this particular image shows what breeding or we can say mating in order to get better offspring. So distributions of commercial livestock rearing, important countries or regions such as New Zealand. So this map shows New Zealand, south of Australia, Argentina, Uruguay, western part of USA. So this particular dark shaded ones, dark shaded are the region where uh, people are doing commercial livestock rearing. So mostly, if we look at the map, mostly commercial livestock rearing is practicing in a region. Mostly they are highly economically, socially developed, not in a socially economically poor country. So that if we look at the map, means most of this type of farming is practicing in a region where there is a more socially economically developed. So the third topic is agriculture. So based on method of farming means what are the input, what are the tools and technologies that our farmers are using in the world in order to produce um, uh, crops, and different types of crops are grown and livestock are reared. On the basis of these parameters, the agricultures of the world are divided into in the following categories or systems. So the following are the main agriculture systems. So why agriculture is called a system means first we have to sow the seeds. In order to sow the seeds, we have to plow the agricultural land, we have to put water in the land with help of different tools and technology. That is called input. And process means the growth of plant is called process. uh, and finally output, we are going to harvest the uh, crops. So that because of these three process, we can call agriculture as a system, because all these three process are included, activities are included in agriculture. Because of that, agriculture is called system. So agriculture um, further divided into two subsistence. So the first type of agriculture that we are going to discuss and learn is subsistence agriculture. Subsistence agriculture, it is further divided into two. So what is meant by subsistence? So we need to know what is meant by subsistence. Subsistence means the cultivation of crop that is done mainly for self-consumption. That is called subsistence. Agriculture means cultivation of crops. Subsistence means mainly for self-consumption. So subsistence agriculture is further divided or grouped into two categories. They are primitive subsistence agriculture and intensive subsistence agriculture. The first type of subsistence agriculture that we are going to learn is primitive subsistence agriculture. What is meant by primitive subsistence agriculture? Primitive subsistence agriculture, it is old, it is traditional, or it is primitive way of cultivation of crops or primitive way of agriculture that is mainly for self-consumption. That is called primitive subsistence agriculture. This is, so following are the characters. So this is the primary form of agriculture. That means it is the primitive, old, or the traditional way of cultivation of crop that is mainly for self-consumption. So that type of agriculture is called um, primitive subsistence agriculture. Characteristics: this type of agricultures are also called slash and burn agriculture. So in order to make agricultural land, first we have to slash the vegetations which are grown on that particular patch of land. So what if first we have to slash the vegetations like trees and shrubs, herbs. We have to slash the tree and these trees, and later on we have to dry these vegetations, and if they are dried, we are going to burn these vegetations, and finally ashes become some sort of this one. It will give fertility to the soil. So that is because of that it is also called slash and burn agriculture. In order to make agriculture, we have to slash and we have to burn the vegetations in order to make a agricultural land. Here in this type of primitive subsistence agriculture, they are using very simple tools such as sticks and stones. Without these simple tools, they are cultivating the crops on a patch of land. Main crops, what type of crop that they are cultivating or they are growing means cassava, maize, millets, and hilly rice. So after 3 to 5 years of farming on the same particular land, they are moving and they are shifting to another land. Again they are doing slash and burn, and they will cultivate the crop on that patch of land, and they will stay on that particular land for farming land, for they will cultivate on that particular farming land for 3 to 5 years. After that again they will move to the another area, and again they will do slash and burn, and again they will cultivate uh, 3 to 4 years, and again they will move to another places. Sometimes they will move back to the previous land also, agricultural land also. So because of that, this type of primitive subsistence agriculture is also called shifting agriculture. It is also called shifting agriculture. Why? Means every 3 to 5 years they are moving from one agricultural land to another agricultural land. So because of that, this type of agriculture is also called shifting agriculture. So primitive subsistence agriculture is also called slash and burn agriculture. Because why? Means frequently they are slashing and burning the vegetations in order to make agricultural land, and this agriculture system is also called shifting agriculture. So at present, since this type of agriculture system is old since, but at present still some people are practicing this type of agriculture. At present, it is mainly practiced in a region with in tropical rainforest by tribal people. So here, tropical means those countries or those regions which are located in between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. So these are the two latitudes, right? One at the northern hemisphere and one at the southern hemisphere near to equator. So those regions are located in between these two latitudinal zones are called tropical regions. So usually if we talk about the tropical regions, we have thick dense forests. Because of that, nowadays still some people are practicing this old type of agriculture that is called primitive, that is called slash and burn, that is called shifting agriculture, mostly by which community means tribal communities. So at present still only few number of people are practicing this type of agriculture, where means in the tropical regions where means in the rainforest, tropical rainforest region, which community means we can say tribal communities. Apart from that, these people are also doing hunting, fishing and gatherings. So apart from agriculture, they are also engaged with hunting, fishing and gatherings also. So this one is cassava, maize and millet. So these are the and hilly rices. So these are the types of crop that they are growing in or they are cultivating in shifting agriculture, primitive subsistence agriculture, or we can say slash and burn agriculture. The common name for shifting agriculture is primitive subsistence agriculture, shifting agriculture, and slash and burn agriculture. But shifting agriculture or primitive subsistence agriculture or slash and burn agriculture is known by different names in different regions, tropical regions of the world. So these are the tropical regions. Tropical region means in between Tropic of Cancer, in between Tropic of Capricorn. So this is Tropic of Cancer, this is Tropic of Capricorn. In between these two latitudinal lines, these regions are called tropical countries or tropical regions. So mostly at present, those people who are engaged with shifting agriculture, they are located, they are doing in tropical regions, in the tropical region, rainforest regions. So the common name for shifting agriculture are primitive subsistence agriculture, intensive this one primitive subsistence agriculture, slash and burn, and shifting agriculture. But this agriculture system is known by different names in different regions of the world. Zooming in northeastern region of India. So shifting agriculture is known by zooming in northeastern states of India. Milpa in Central America. For shifting agriculture in Central America, it is called milpa, or in South of America, it is called roca. In Indonesia, and Malaysia, it is called landang. In Central Africa, it is called masol. So these are the different names for shifting agriculture, primitive subsistence agriculture, or we can say slash and burn agriculture in different regions of the world. Next topic is intensive subsistence agriculture. So what is meant by here? We need to know the meaning of intensive subsistence agriculture. Intensive means intensive use of land. Subsistence means we know that cultivation of crop that is done mainly for self-consumption. Agriculture means cultivation crop. That means intensive use of land, cultivation of crop mainly for self-consumption. It is called intensive subsistence agriculture. So why they are called intensive means in a year they are cultivating in a year on a particular agricultural land. The farmers are cultivating two or more than two crops in a same particular agricultural land during one agricultural year. That means during 1 year. That means they are using that particular land in an intensive way. Why? Means because they are cultivating two or more than two crops on the same field. Because of that intensive agriculture, that means intensive use of, because of intensive use of agricultural land, because of that intensive subsistence. Why they are cultivating? Means mainly for self-consumption. So flowing at the characteristics, it is largely found in densely populated region of monsoon Asia. So this particular circle one, so this region we have the map shows we have two shadings, dark shading and light dark shading. Dark shadings are called wet rice dominant crops. Light shadings are called other crop dominated. So these are the regions. So mostly intensive subsistence agriculture it's practicing in where? Means in the monsoon Asia. So this region shows the monsoon Asia. They are practicing in this region. There are two types of intensive subsistence agriculture. So intensive subsistence agriculture, again we have two types. Intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet paddy. So wet paddy means we can say rice cultivation. So these dark shaded one, they are cultivating rice in a particular field, same field. They are cultivating two or more than two rice in a same field. This dark region, that is intensive subsistence agriculture cultivation. They are cultivating two or more than two crops. Why? Means for self-subsistence. That dark shaded one they are called to be as they are cultivating what type of crop they are cultivating? Means they are cultivating rice. Intensive, another type of subsistence agriculture is intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by other than paddy. That means this light shaded one, they are called this light shaded one. I have made an arrow, red one that is moving, right? One showing dark one and one showing red one. So this light shaded one, they are cultivating other than rice, two or more than two crop, mostly wheat, barley. They are cultivating in a same particular land two or more than two wheat and barley in order to subsist themselves. Because of that, this particular, they are cultivating two or more than two other than rice. Because of that, it is called intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by crop other than paddy. So flowing are the characteristics of uh, intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet paddy cultivation. So we know that what is meant by wet paddy. So rice is called uh, why rice is called wet paddy means in order to grow rice we need lots and lots of water in order to grow rice. So sometimes rice is called water intensive crop. Why water rice is called water intensive crop? Means in order to grow rice we need uh, lots and lots of water in order to grow rice. Because of that, rice is called water intensive crop also. It is also called wet paddy. So following are the characteristics dominated by rice crops. So dominated means, so we know that what is meant by intensive, right? So we know that what is meant by intensive. We know that what is meant by intensive. So intensive means intensive use of land. That means they are cultivating two or more than two crops on the same agricultural land during 1 year. Because of that, that is called intensive. So dominated by crops, rice cultivation. That means in a year on a particular agricultural land, they are cultivating mostly they are cultivating rice. For example, in a year, if a particular farmer is cultivating three crops on a same field, means two crops they are cultivating rice and another one is they are cultivating another than crop. Sometimes both if a particular farmer is cultivating uh, sometimes a particular farmer may cultivate three rice in a year also. So because of that, mostly they are cultivating rice. Because of that, dominated by rice cultivation or wet cultivation. Dominated means mostly, most importantly, most of the time they are cultivating rice on a field. Means in a year, if a particular farmer is cultivating three crops on a same field, means two or sometimes three times they are cultivating rice on a same field during 1 year. Small land holding. So this region, they are practicing intensive subsistence agriculture. Why means in this region, this region usually we have a high density of population. Because of that, because of high density of population, every farmer, the land holding is very small. So because of that, in order to subsist them and their family, they are compelled to cultivate two or more than two crops in a same particular agricultural land because of large size of population and small agricultural land. So in order to subsist themselves, they're compelled to cultivate two or more than two crops on a same particular land, agricultural land. Intensive use of land. Intensive use of land means they are cultivating two or more than two crops on a same land, agricultural land. Because of that, intensive use of agricultural land. Limited use of machinery. They are not using they are not much using machines. Most of the agricultural operations are done with help of family labor. So mostly agricultural operations or agriculture activities are done with help of family laborers or family members. Here mostly they are using manures in order to maintain the fertility of the soils. So manure means we know that decomposed, biological decomposed are called manures. So these are where farmers are putting manures in the field in order to maintain the fertility of the soil. Here the per unit area production is high but per low labor productivity. That means in a year, if a particular farmer is cultivating per unit area in a particular small land, agricultural land, they are cultivating two or more than two crops. That means per area production is high because they are cultivating two or more than two crops on the same agricultural land because in a year. So production is mostly count in a year. Because of that, per area production is very high. But if we talk about the per labor production, so mostly this type of agriculture system is done with half of family labor. So if we divide the labor wise, per labor head means it is very low because most of the agriculture activities are done with half of family labors, not by machines. Because of that, if we divide per labor production, per labor productivity means that is very low because of mostly they are not using machines. Per area production high because of they are cultivating two or more than two crops in the same agricultural land, and they are using apart from rainfall. So mostly the intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet paddies are they are cultivating mostly regions or area which are receiving high rainfall during monsoon season. Mostly they are practicing in this region. So apart from rainfall, they are also using irrigations in order to grow the rice because rice is a water intensive crop. So these are the characteristics of intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet paddy cultivation. Next topic is intensive subsistence agriculture. So intensive subsistence agriculture, we have two types. One is dominated by wet paddy and one is another other than wet paddy. So other than wet paddy means most usually we can say wheat cultivation. Crops other than paddies. So other than paddy, what they are cultivating means they are cultivating wheat. They are cultivating wheat, soybean, barley, millets. They are mostly cultivating other than rice. They are cultivating this type of crop. Why means because mostly this region they are receiving less rainfall. Because of that they have to cultivate other than rice. Because why means rice is a water intensive crops. Rice is a water intensive crop, and another maybe it may be because of climatic condition. In order to grow rice we need a warm and humid type of climate. So mostly wheat, soybeans, barley, millet, they can grow in a very cold, very dry climatic condition, less rainfall regions. Because of that they are cultivating these type of crops. in a region intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet. Other than crops such as they are cultivating wheat, soybean, barley, and millet, they are cultivating these type of characteristics. So if you talk about the characteristics of intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by crop other than wet paddy, means most of the characteristics are same as above. Means same as above means these characteristics. Same as above means these characteristics are same, except instead of dominated by rice, we are going to dominated by cultivation of wheat cultivation. Apart from wheat, they are cultivating barley, millets, and soybean. So we are going to change. Instead of rice, we are going to rice wheat. Other characteristics are same. Small land holding because of large size of population. Intensive use of land, same. Limited use of machinery. Most of the agriculture activities are done without family labor. Manure is used. Per again, this one is same. Again, here they are using less irrigation. In this, they are using less irrigation. Why? Means because in the region where intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by other than petty, means they are cultivating barley, wheat, and millets, because these crops are mostly less water intensive crop. Because of that, they are using less irrigation facilities. They are not much using irrigation facilities. So these are the some of the characteristics of intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by crop other than paddy. Other than paddy means other than rice. Crops such as wheat, barley, soybean, barley, and millets. So these they are cultivating these type of crops. So this is the soybean import. So with from soybean, we are soybean is categorized as a pulses, right? So soybean is used to produce vegetable oils, and we are using these two as a these crop as a pulses. Thank you.